because we have 24 participants already. So I think the number will increase from time to time. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Shalom.
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Thank you all for finding time and joining today's talk series, FRSB Postgraduate Talk Series, Series 3 into 2021. So my name is Nur Ardina Abu Bakar. You can just call me Dr. Lin, and I'm a senior lecturer at the Department of Architecture, UPM. And I'll be responsible for moderating this session today. So I hope that everyone can hear me well, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, so our talk series today, titled Exploring Thinking Tools in Knowledge Creation. And the speaker today is Professor Technologist Dr. Rahina Ibrahim. Okay, so before I briefly introduce our speaker, let me explain how the session will be running. So we try to do kind of a relaxed interview or talk series today. So this time where I can get the chance to ask Prof famous questions related to her
Famous.
famous questions or maybe related to her latest book title, Thinking Tools, Navigating a 3-Year PhD Journey. So even the title already sounds very interesting for me, and especially to all the PhD candidates out there. So I'm so honored to be the moderator for today, as I'm also inspired by the book, because I have already one copy here. So I already take a look at the books, and I wish I have that book during my PhD study. Okay, so we will have a Q&A session at the end to answer all of your questions. And in the meantime, during the talk session between me and Prof. Rahina, if you're afraid that you might forget your question later, so you can just write them in the chat box, so I can review it later during the Q&A session. Okay, so I hope that everyone is clear now. So now we can begin. Our today's speaker is Professor Technologist Dr. Rahina Ibrahim. She is a professor of architecture and former dean at the Faculty of Design and Architecture, UPM. So Professor Rahina has a 7 years experience in property development and architectural practice before joining UPM in 1997 as a lecturer and led the establishment of faculty's architecture program. So a trained architect, she received a doctoral degree in construction engineering and management from Stanford University in the USA. So Prof. Rahina is an expert on industrialized timber construction and assisted in human resource development for the MTIB, Malaysian Timber Industry Board. To date, she is the principal investigator for about Ringgit Malaysia 4.06 million research and pre-commercialization grants. She is the founding editor-in-chief for Alam Cipta, SEDEX, and Virtual Library Museum Pages. So since 2005, Prof. Rahina has published more than 190 academic articles, registered more than 20 IPs worldwide, and commercialized SAB system. And I think due to time constraint, I don't think I have enough to read all of her achievements. So many, and perhaps Prof can share with us her latest project at the end of the session, especially related to the Eagle Table framework that contribute to her book. Okay. So without further ado, so maybe we can start our session, yeah, Prof. So let me ask you my first question. So when I received this book, what attracts me first is the author bio at the back cover of the book. Because before I opened the book, I read the cover first and the back cover. So, and where it mentioned about you being listed in the US no-fly list in 2014. So it is in the, in the outer bio at the back cover. So it just made me wonder the significance of that event of being listed in the United States no-fly list, and how did it influence the publication of this book? Is that one of your motivations? And perhaps you could tell us how did you come to write this book?
So thank you, Dr. Lin. So that one attracts you first, huh?
Yeah, because it is very.
Yes,
I think it is very rare to see such kind of introduction of the author
yes.
at the book.
It does actually. There are actually two reasons why I approach or I'm motivated to do this book. Yes, number one is I was listed on the no-fly list. You know during the 9/11 incident. So it so happened that my name was listed there. So it took about 9 years, 9 years to fight with the U.S. government to clear my name from the list. And that was that long time. At that time, as you can notice also, there were many people, I call it people, many aspiring students who wish to go to the United States or to Europe for better education. They were unable to go there because they cannot fly. They cannot fly because their countries were sanctioned. And at that time also, during those time, you see the influx of students from certain countries that were impacted by that no-fly list coming to UPM, and these are the students that I know are very inspired to change the way or to change their family status by having a better education. So those were the times. So during those 9 years, in support, and actually I was a bit, hello, hello. During that time, actually I was a bit frustrated and angry that I couldn't go back until my name was cleared. I couldn't return back to the US, whereas I know it was a mistake by them. But in the meantime, I had many things to do. We are going to see a flux of students who came in. And these are the people that makes me redirect my energy to assist, because these are brilliant people, intelligent people. All they need is help to get over that which they could get easily if they enter top universities in the world. Okay, that is the first. Second one, contrary to what everybody believe, yes, of course, I went to Stanford. Well, anybody who go in Stanford, you will think, wow, this lady is so intelligent, very smart, clever, no problem. So PhD should be a breeze, right? So let me tell you, it's wrong. It's a wrong perception. It wasn't as breezy as it was supposed to be. Okay. For those of you who were not in my class or have not been in my class before, because I tell you this story, my Stanford story. At the end of my third year, would you believe that I almost failed my PhD? And the reason is very obvious. By the end of my third year, I did not even have my main research question approved. I'm talking about third year here, end of third year. It's kind of very frustrating. I only have 1 year scholarship left, and my committee said, no, you are not, what the word that they use, unbecoming of a Stanford student. Wow. That means I cannot graduate as a Stanford PhD student. You know, if you were in my shoe also, you will appeal, you will negotiate. I call it negotiate. Can I come back again? Let me do what you think that I should do. And incredulously, they look at me when I said, I will come back in 1 month. I will come back in 1 month to fulfill what you want me to do. And guess what? What I have to do? I have to review about 1,000 journal articles, summarize them, and create a new research question in 1 month. Okay, so to cut the story short, yes, I did that. I did that and I got my research question approved. But the most surprisingly, it's not what I did in that 1 month. Most surprisingly is I finished everything in 1 year. Well, I couldn't start 3 years before. I finished in 1 year just because of that research question. Okay, at that time, wow, you're so happy you finish your study. Okay, you never thought about, okay, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk about PhD. I'm the last person you need to talk about PhD. So you never think about even writing about it. What happened to you when you are doing your PhD? Now, when I came back, the former dean, Prof. Mus, he said, okay, Raina, you take over the research method class. Because at that time, research method just come out from my mouth because I'm so enthused in it. Finally, I understood. You see, finally, I understood methodology. You see, before this, I don't understand. I don't even understand theory. Until my third year, only then I understand about theory, how to develop theory, and so on and so forth. So he said, okay, take over this class. Then happily I took the class and I'm stuck with the class. So it's been like what 90 almost 15 years I'm teaching the research method class and things have been improving. So in the class, and I'm not surprised, but when you just finish your PhD and think, wow, I'm a PhD, Dr. Raina, you should be perfect, everything. But when I was in the class, I had difficulty trying to explain to my students who are struggling PhD, struggling thesis students, what research is about because it just boils down to me. I did exactly what they did, and knowing what I will end up to be, I decided that hey, why don't I introduce something, the intervention that I did when I was doing that 1 month period. I totally discarded my way of doing learning how to do research, the way I did my reading, the way I developed my what we call the biggest problem was the literature review part. So I discarded that and I did a new way of doing that. And slowly we integrate that. The problem with Malaysian research methodology is we are very method centric. And this is the same for many developing countries. We are method centric. And you have to forgive yourself. So I learned to forgive myself also. Because our education system is not into what we call knowledge creation. We are during my time and many of the time, unless you are the age of my grandchildren, which is like the current primary school, then only then this higher thinking order kicks in. They come in. So you have to wait. So if you miss that starting, meaning you're still not at PhD level, um, there is something missing in our education which doesn't encourage what I call a critical reading and critical thinking skills among us. And actually, from my study after I came back, as I was trying to understand how to help my students, is without these two skills, unfortunately, our students, that means you, are unable um, to develop new knowledge. You cannot create new knowledge. So this is a problem. And we now have, not by me, by other researchers also, that average around the world, yeah, is around 30 to 70% of PhD, what I call attrition rate. Attrition rate. Either you fail or I call it MIA, missing in action. I you don't know what happened to you, okay, or recycling. I call it recycling PhD. You change university or you register into a different program. So this is not good statistic. we shouldn't be, if any of your friends are in this category, please, I I really would like to get in touch with all these people who are having this problem, because this book actually is for them to help them identify. They can do it themselves, which part of the PhD journey that they are struggling with, and not to give up so soon, not to give up so soon. So um so slowly in the class we proceed, no, we profit. We introduce some intervention slowly, and the ego table, that is the what we call the innovation base for this book, actually explained, elaborated well in the book. Actually, it took me and the class of the seniors, I mean, over 5 years to complete. That means there is no more anything new that can be added to the table. It's called what I call saturation point, that you cannot improve anymore. So once we have that saturation point reached, after many trials in the class, then the only way to get a Malaysian innovation accepted, even by Malaysian, is to be accepted by international colleagues, right? So what I did was, I presented the Eagle table to at the 10th European Conference on Research Methodology. So I was speaking in front of research methodology experts, and it was selected. And I know it's good because it was selected as one of the two papers from the research methodology section. So this is very good recognition by international peers. And after that, it become a standard tool that we use in the RSB 5001 class. Okay, so now we move on from that. So this is the first part of the book. So I will stop there before I talk about the future part of the book. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. So that is a very strong justification of the motivation that that motivates you to write the books. And I believe that I think it already helped a lot of students especially from the developing countries and especially from Malaysia as well. Because I agree with you, we are really into the method-based um, a method approach, a research methodology approach in doing our research, as compared to to really into the developing theoretical framework. So we're lacking of that kind of knowledge thinking tools in terms of how to develop a research framework. I think that is the common scenario way back in 10 to 20 years ago, right? But
So
I think this book is very interesting because I really like the writing style of the book. It is very simple and easy to understand,
yes.
as to compare with other books related to thinking tools in PhD. So Prof, tell me how this book is unlike others with similar topics. So what sets it
Okay.
apart from the crowd, from the other books?
You mentioned that one. In research methodology, okay, from my experience, after I came back from my PhD, not during my PhD, I realized that in time, actually, what we are lacking basically from our education viewpoint, even my own education, yeah, is we are method centric, and then we miss up the theory development part, actually. So in related back to the teaching approach in the class, is that in order to create theory, first we need to nurture the skills by the student that would allow them to become creative in knowledge creation. So it has to be done twice, which is not in the textbook. Actually, I couldn't find any. So then the other one is to merge it with the methodology. So you have all this methodology class teaching about methodology. Okay, so I commonly, if you do survey, Okay, this is the method 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do case study, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But from my experience, which I could say I failed to understand before the third year and the incident, I call it the third year incident. I failed to understand because I was so scared about theory. I don't even know the definition of theory. So in this book and in the paper, subsequent paper which was published during the conference was I have to define the word theory to make the student understand. So it becomes statement of rule regarding a phenomenon. But this phenomena you must obtain through systematic steps and validated step, meaning that you can validate and repeat the step. So if it's just become a statement of rule regarding a phenomena, meaning that you are just giving your opinion, which anybody can. But if you are a scholar, you must show and demonstrate that you got this theory by systematic step, meaning that proper research methodology. And also, if you were to get somebody else to repeat the exercise and they got the same result, that means you validate your result. Okay, so this part is the difficult part. So this is the difference. So this what I focus more on this book, which is to provide or close the gap in our PhD education in Malaysia, is provide some of the exercises that will help students to improve the thinking process, that will allow them to connect to the actual research methodology. So throughout especially the Eagle table, you will know what you need to do so that all the components that are required for you to complete your PhD exercise successfully in 3 years, they have been thought of earlier with the theory in mind. So that's the biggest differentiation between my book and other research methodology books. And if you can see many books that are in the bookstore or on internet bookstore, they go both extreme. Either you are what I call theory centric, or you go into method centric. These two. So this book, I can claim that it is the bridging book between these two extremes, that will allow you, if you can manage and understand and become skillful in it, you can go back and forth between theory and actions, what I call action oriented research. The other one is thinking oriented research. You can go back and forth and come up with a very high impact research output at the end of the day. Okay.
Okay, so Prof, who does the book appeal to, or who is your targeted audience?
Okay. There are 4 category. When we were developing this, even in the class, and I'm running workshops also, I got various category of people who come in. So number one, people who are interested to pursue a PhD study but they haven't started. So they just say, oh, I can do this, I cannot do this. I want to do this, no, I don't want to do this. So read the book and see whether is it manageable or not. So this is the first category of people. Then second group of people is, okay, they registered very early, first semester or second semester. And then when they join in, then they realize that, oh my God, what a mess I'm in. So I didn't realize that there's so many things that I have to do. So this is the second group, the SEM1 and the SEM2 people. Then there is this third group, at the third, fourth, or fifth semester group. These are the group I call, they're in there, they work very hard, but they have no idea how they're going to finish the journey. So they cannot see the end in mind, actually. They cannot see the end. So this is the third category. And that's the fourth category, which I really, really value. Is the one who wants to quit. They want to quit because they cannot see the end. too problematic for them. So I care for them because sometimes in view of what I know and in view of what I have in the book, I will encourage them to look into this book because the Eagle table is very unique in the sense that if if when you do the Eagle table and even you have one block or one cell empty, you cannot graduate. That is how sensitive it is. If you have one empty box in the Eagle table, I'm sorry, you cannot graduate. So, if I know that my student have one box empty, that is the box that I'm going to help my student. Yeah. So in this way, it's not about being embarrassed to work with your supervisor. No, this is to tell, okay, this is the part that I don't know or I'm ignorant for, and then for the supervisor to really understand where is the effort that if is if me, I would put more effort. Okay, helping the student. This is the part that is the weakest part of the whole thesis. And sometimes when you just help them with only one, I have heard incident like no, those who came for our workshop coming in and saying that Prof, this is my last semester, this is my after this I'm going to give up. And then what is your problem? So we found the problem and guess what? And then 1 month afterward, then the person would tell me, Prof, I passed my comprehensive exam. Thank you very much. There's only one point there. She wanted to give up already, but she passed the CE. And we have many occasions where after several months, okay, I finished writing my thesis. That's all that I need for to complete my PhD. And you're almost quitting before that. Yeah, because you don't know how to connect. So that connection is the one that makes the connection between theory and the result. Yeah, the theory and the action part of the research that everyone needs to know so they can go back and forth and complete their PhD very well. Okay.
Okay, so actually I have one copy. I just want to
Yeah.
show to the
That's for you.
to the to the audience here, to those who are joining us today. I just want to briefly tell them the content of this book.
Mm,
It is divided into five parts. Yeah, Prof.
mm.
So
Yeah, yeah, fine.
it is divided into five parts. It's very. I think the even the organization, it is very well organized. It is very easier to, to navigate between chapter to chapter. So we have part one, happiness lies in discovering knowledge, and then part two we have
Yay.
part two we have fundamentals of the Eagle table, and then we have part three, planning and developing the Eagle table. Part four, presenting the Eagle table, and part five, stepping off with the right footing. So I think it is very well organized, and it is really easy to understand, easy to follow step by step. Okay, so my question is, so what are the exciting parts of your book to teach to new readers? What
Mm.
was and then what was the most challenging part about writing this book, and the most fun and rewarding? Maybe you
Oh,
can share with us.
there's so many questions there. One
Yes.
by one, if I
Okay,
forget one of it, then you
okay.
let me know.
The
Okay.
first is, what are the most exciting parts of the book to teach to the
Okay.
new readers?
The, the most exciting part. My story just now, it took me 3 years, right? To get my research question confirmed and to have it confirmed like yes, it's a good PhD study. 3 years. In this book, if you have a copy, you know that you can get your main research question in less than maybe with me around less than 1 hour. So how much time you can save that without even reading your literature, without even reading any journals. Okay. So in less than 1 hour, you see how many hours or how many months or years you can save. Okay, that is what the formula itself. The formula itself that constitute the research question, it doesn't come as easy. This is the part that I I have to share with you. Uh, students and supervisor, you need to work closely with your student, and you must forgive your supervisor if they cannot explain to you very well. The reason is we were all trained tacitly. Tacitly means the supervisor will ask us to follow them. You have to read, you have to discuss. So a lot of this is training by doing. Training by doing, yeah. Okay. Now, in this case, you cannot meet the supervisor very often, so you must know what am I thinking? Am I thinking correctly or not? So when you have this formula, you can know whether you have a master study or a PhD study. The formula will allow you even to determine whether you have two PhD or one PhD or never a PhD. Research question. So how the story behind it, because it happened in the class. I was of course being me, having my tacit knowledge. Then we had a presentation or research question by the student. Then all the student will say, okay, this is my research question, da da da. And then I say, okay, good, that's a good research question for PhD. And then no, it's not good, it's not enough. And then you have two masters research questions here, and then you have a master student. Are you doing master or you're doing PhD for the master student, right? Um, what stumped me? So the brave student of mine, I would say brave because he dared to interrupt me in the class. He would say that, doctor, at that time I was still Dr. Rahina. So doctor, how do you know that this is a PhD research question and this is a master research question? Oh, and I have to be frankly, I tell you, I don't know how to answer. So what I did was I said, okay, give me back all your question. Give me about 1 week. I'll come and see you and explain to you why I think this is it. So coming back to that, then I'm very grateful for the student and also for the class because they were very patient with me. And this is where we come out with what we call the RQ construct innovation. So the RQ construct, to form an inquiry for a thesis or for a research inquiry, you need three components. What I call who, what, and how. Who is the element that's impacted by the study? What is the information that you need to solve your problem? And number three is what are the impacts that you want? To the point that we know, and you can ask your friends who are doing master but they never finish their master thesis. If you don't have how construct for your master thesis, you will never ever finish your master thesis. So to that point, so we are very accurate. So those who I don't like to use the word fail. Those who couldn't complete their master thesis, the how construct is the one that doesn't exist in their research question. Okay. Now, how about the PhD? For the PhD, there is a formula. Is one who, two what, or two how. There's two options. If you're process oriented, you use two how construct, and if you are what we call knowledge based orientation, like for example survey, process is more engineering and design. So you have two what. Even with this, because for PhD it requires two level of thinking process. So many times where many PhD students struggles a lot is because they were still working at their master's level. They do many master's research, but never a PhD level. So for you to understand it, you need to know how the merging of the two construct come together. So usually for PhD, easily the first master level they can pass, but the second level of thinking process usually is where they fail. And this one we can capture by the missing eagle table that I mentioned to you just now. Okay. Now I forgot your next question, Dr. Lee.
The next question, what was the most challenging part about writing this book during
Oh,
the writing? Yeah, what was the most challenging part?
okay. I the most challenging is making sure the high level words can be reduced to a level that anybody can understand the words. So the fact that you mentioned that it's easy to read, okay, Alhamdulillah. But I got to discount you because you have a PhD. It has to be read by people who hasn't done any research actually. So the terminology and all that. It's supposed to be simple, but sometimes when I show this, oh, it's too simple. Then the problem with being too simple is the point is, you know, the four group of people that I would like to help. They need this simplicity, the simplicity to connect to everyday life and how things are working in the brain. So I could say, please apologize me if like I know when I came back from Stanford, maybe my language, I call it my terminology were too high that I know people don't understand me by the look of their face. They don't understand what I was talking about. So it's kind of sad. But I find it the more that I wanted to, the more I teach the student in the class actually. And I'm very grateful to them because they ask me very hard question. Um, in time when I started to explain to them, I got to use the everyday jargon, the simple one, so that they can see, oh, this is how you think. Then once they get it, then we change the word into more complex words. So it's much easier doing that rather than like for example, I can throw away the word theory. What's theory? So everybody will be like, what's theory? I mean, everybody was using theory. Like if you ask me something, then I will say, yeah, use the theory. No idea. So if you do not know the definition of theory, meaning that we will not know when to use it, how to use it, and even how to create that word or our personal one to represent the theory. Okay, so that's the most challenging one. Like I don't say it's downgrading. Simplifying the explanation to so that many people can understand. Even those who are not in the study yet, they can understand. Yeah. So just now I said let somebody else read it, right? So what I did actually, what we use the technique. We know with the master student we can work. We go to now to undergraduate. They can understand. Now we go to diploma. They can understand. So this is how simplifying is about. So if the diploma student can understand, I hope the PhD student can understand. So that is my prayer and my wish list. If the diploma student can understand, then the PhD can understand and make sure they finish their PhD. Yeah. Next
So
question.
yeah, so I guess the third question just now, the most fun or rewarding too, I think it is related to the challenging that you have faced. So
Uh,
the fun and rewarding part.
okay. The the most rewarding part for me is to see the faces of my student. You know, when they come into my class, they think that they are uh, their problem or their thesis topic is very difficult already. But the best part is once you finish the eager table and then you have comments like, oh, that's so easy, I can do it. I can do it. So meaning that from my class, oh, it's manageable. I can do it. So my question to them is, would you like to be challenged a little bit higher so that you can raise up your bar to meet I call MIT standard or MIT based thesis or Stanford based thesis. Would you like to do that, or you would like to remain as UPM based UPM based thesis? So then some of them took up the challenge, and I'm very happy to see very successful. And all of them are now working in third country in better university than UPM, better ranked university than UPM. So it means to say that the technique works if you are really diligent and you really want to improve yourself. What we have, I would say, God willing, everybody can pass. Yeah, that's the minimum requirement. What we have in the book is the minimum requirement for you to pass your PhD. And it will be nice if PhD, you hear a lot about high impact PhD, high impact result. So once you manage and you can control the simple part of your PhD, then you will be challenged to, hey, why can't I do this? I can do this, I can do this. So that part. And if you say most of the rewarding part, even in my class, I can easily capture and identify about 50% of the student who will end up with intellectual property. So you can have patent or you can have product that can go on towards IP registration only if they want to finish it. Only if they want to reach that point, because they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. They can pass their PhD already. So the choice is yours. Within the 3 years that you have, do you want to create something, a pattern that you can carry forward in your future career, or you want something that you can carry forward as an entrepreneur? Yeah, as an entrepreneur or entrepreneur scientist, it doesn't matter. Um, so there is more choices for the student. In fact, I know many industries are looking for this type of students. They pay more than the lecturer salary actually. Yeah, the creative and the innovative side, and a very scientific, what I call deep tech research, but in the industry. So they pay very high salary for these people. Okay.
Okay, that's good to hear, Prof. Now can you share with our participants? There are 48 participants already. So can we share? Can you share to our participants today, what
Oh, sure.
what are one thing that you want readers to learn or take away from this work from this book? What are
Oh,
one thing that you really want them to to take away
okay.
from the book?
Um, we, how do you call it? We are, even my time also, we are so afraid of failing actually. We are so afraid of failing to the point that we don't want to try anything new. We are so afraid. So we end up doing the same thing and same thing. And the saddest part to me is going to give the same result. So if the failure rate in Malaysia is 40%, it will be 40% that will not complete their PhD. Okay. Now, on the other side, when we that is on being very safe, doing PhD safely. And for those who wants to take the risk, even though that is not even a risk, okay, would you continue to do something that is somebody else tell you that you're not going to achieve a significant difference in 2 years time or 3 years time, compared to if you use this tool and you got your result in less than 1 hour or 2 days or 3 days? Would that help you make that decision? And coming from people or me, or by the student who had gone through the process, they will tell you that this is an alternative, even though it's not established in any books that I know of. So that's why I have to publish this book. But it's practiced at the Faculty of Design and Architecture. Because our design methodology is kind of weird, because we use a lot of mixed method, and our mixed method doesn't really, it's not really standardized. We sometimes we do quali quanti, sometimes we do quanti quali first, sometimes we do half, not even whole. So if you cannot understand, if your research question is not strong, and if your problem reason why you do this research is not strong, we will end up having a lot of difficulty. And that's exactly what's happening in design research actually. Because of this mix of information, it become very complex, but the problem is real. The problem is real, and but it become very complex. So I was hoping that the book will show the way how to untangle the different part. So if you say anything that I can bring forward from this process, I would say try it first. Try it before you comment. Try it before you say it doesn't work. Because there are successful people out there already this thing has been going on for more than 15 years already. So this book came out 14 years after, and you have examples from those successful people in the book, but it's still relevant, but they graduated so long ago. So very long ago. So it's still very relevant today, and you can see how advanced their thinking is even at that time. Even at that time. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with you, Prof. And you mentioned that, most of us are afraid to, to try something new, to change our method because we are afraid of failing. So, but at the end of the day, our research still stuck. It doesn't move to, it doesn't go anywhere. So that I
Mm.
totally agree because that's not, I'm not seeing them on my postgraduate students, but I think I also experienced the same thing during my during my PhD studies. So Prof, if you want, how would you introduce this book to our participants here in one sentence? So what are the most in what are the most
Okay.
how
Okay.
do you say that to introduce to our participants here?
I'm pitching.
Yeah. Some
I'm
sort of
pitching.
marketing.
Okay. Let me try this. So PhD studies anywhere in the world are known to be confusing and difficult with high incomplete rates. So if you know you could save 2 years of your PhD misery, are you willing to try? So that's my pitching point.
Yeah, I think that's very attractive, attractive, interesting teaching. So thank you, Prof. Um,
Yeah.
so I've been told that the book already received good reviews from two publishers, right, Prof? And
Yeah, okay.
and it is also recommended for a book award. So
Mm,
could you tell us a bit about that, Prof? What are the
okay.
achievements of the book so far?
Yeah, surprisingly, because um, the original intention is to help our student, our people, right? Especially those coming from developing country and less developed country. Also, especially for us who needs to innovate but doesn't speak English as the first language. Okay, so this so in fact, I was very surprised. The publisher informed me that they want to nominate this book for book award under the category of self-help. Surprisingly, not academic book. So under self-help, even though the helping part is for PhD student per se or people related to PhD study, that's one. So this book is like for single authors who wants to know whether their work is impacting the community or what we call the reading community. So that's I think it was the Eric Offer award. The second one is because the publisher is Patrick's publisher is in Singapore, but it's like it's part of the Penguin Group, Penguin Random House Group. So it's based in US. So they're pushing out the book to obtain reviews from American professional review. And I think I'm quite impressed. The author is impressed with the review because they look at it from a different viewpoint, right? But I'm happy they managed to capture the essence. So like you say just now, Dr. Lin, if it's simple enough to understand, so for them, maybe some of them are academic, but they are not from design, architecture or engineering, so they might They might not understand, but they understood it quite well to capture the whole essence of the book. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations, Prof, on that. I think that kind that's a good achievement for a book, for a new book, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I would like to remind our participants here. You guys can post your questions at the chat box um, for our Q&A session at the end of this talk series. So okay, because we are going towards a few last questions from me. So maybe after this, maybe we can open it to all our participants, our postgraduate students here. Okay. Is there anything we haven't covered, Prof, here that you feel is important for people to know about your book? What are
Hmm.
the things that we haven't covered here?
Okay. Okay. Then let me continue the explanation just now. Yeah. The first 5 years to capture and making sure all the required components for a PhD has been successfully captured by the students. So it's like a roadmap for them. That's why it's called navigator. A roadmap for the student to navigate all this through messy literature review and messy results and conclusion that they have to do. So that is the first 5 years. The second 5 years is when I have more mature PhD students, they will ask me, okay, I have the roadmap, what do I do next? So the next 5 years is about teaching them how to develop their personal theory. So all the time I was teaching one-to-one with my student, and I found that they are repeating techniques and repeating technology, what I call process and procedure, and it works. And it takes about 5 years also to develop a way how we can explain to students and for them to be guided to develop their own theory. Okay, so and it become like a template. I call it templates. So since the Eagle table is a template, there are smaller templates that will lead into the result will be put into the bigger template. So some of them are illustrated in the thinking toolbook. But in the later one part is how to develop your theory very structurally and guide. But I have to warn you that this is one method. This is the eagle method. Okay, there are other methods that you can do. So I'm not going to dwell into that. So for the writing part, so that is where the second book is coming up. So I'm writing the second book. So got to wait. This one takes about how many years to write also. And then maybe the second book. But what will save you is we found that you see students are not patient, and even my graduated students who are teaching in other countries, in German, in Canada, in London, UK, and all that, they are all asking, Prof, do you have a book? Do you have a book that we can refer to? Okay, so this is the book. So I promised them I have a book. Now, what happened for easier is we have transferred all the templates in the thinking tool books and also the theory development phase, which is now we're using in the RSB 5001 class. We have transferred all those tools into an online system called Eagle Navigator. So this Eagle Navigator is a what I call is a patented online system. It has filed for patent, very unique, where it will guide you. It has everything in the thinking tool book and more because it's like Prof. Rahina is sitting next to you, is talking to you. You just use the system and you can repeat it without Prof. Rahina present. Yeah. Uh, because many people, even in my class, I'm a very aware that students really want me to sit with them, hold their hand, do the question for them. I said, cannot do like that. You have to do the thinking part. So the technique to do the thinking part, this is what we train our trainer to guide the student. And for the student who are in the class and those who finish their PhD using the technique, they are trained to do that kind of thinking part, and for them to teach others how to practice the ego techniques and tools when they are stuck, when they are stuck and have to make intellectual decision. So that will be currently the future, which is the online system. It has already embedded all the tools that we are using manually in the class into the system, and you can access it anywhere in the world. Actually, you can access it anywhere in the world. So we are very exciting. UPM allow us to commercialize the system, and we are because of the commercialization, we are allowed to expand the training program to any country in the world. So I'm not sure where you are. If you are interested, first, ideally, if you can finish your PhD with at least one eagle table, then come talk to me. And ideally, if you can finish the theory development part, then you can become a certified trainer. And the system that I talk about, the wonderful part, because I know many students have same problem, is when you start writing your first journal paper, you tend to lose out on the information that is very important. And the reason is simple, because you were referring a lot to very well written journal that you don't want to change the language. This is non-English speaker problem. You don't want to change the language when you copy the information from the well published journal. So the Eagle Navigator forces you, in a way, forces you to come up with your own sentences by answering simple question, and it help you to combine and compile it into a paragraph, a complete paragraph that you can use in your writing later. And we have done this very well. I say we are all PhD students here, right? So I tested it in undergraduate actually. For our, I think I tested the writing portion with the cognitive group last year. So there are 4 level of writing process. I only tested two. I only tested two because they're not doing the theory, but they tested two. They came up with a wonderful cognitive written part. So not bad for undergraduate year 3. Yeah. Okay, so that is the future. So if any one of you is interested, so there are also the other workshops coming up. I'm definitely looking for more trainers actually who are familiar with the process. And if you are from other countries also, that will be very nice, because it's good to bring this back to your country. And it's good for you to practice first before you bring back to your country. That is what my advice to students who are interested to learn about the technique. Okay, so I think about that. Yeah.
Okay, Prof. So one last question before I open the Q&A. So I think most
Mm.
of the participants are also wondering and really eager to know where is your book available for purchase, Prof? Is it
Okay,
available in hardcover, softcover, or ebook?
okay. Um, all those three available. All those three are available on Amazon actually. Amazon.com. You just put Thinking to Rahina Ibrahim, you will find it. Okay. But there is also available from Grounded Learning, the sponsor of the book actually. So we are located in Putra Science Park. Not sure whether if I can Well, I wait for the question. I will try to post where you can purchase the book later on in the chat. Okay? All right.
Yeah, we will really appreciate it, Prof, if you can tell us in the chat box, because we already have
Mm.
one question there in the chat box where the student asks where we can get the book.
Can you get the book?
So,
Oh, okay, okay. All
okay,
right, all right, all right. Yes, yes, I will do that.
that's from Haris. Okay,
Mm.
okay. I think they already post a few questions there in the chat box. So uh,
Mm.
I think we can open the session to the participants, yeah, Prof.
Sure, sure,
For
sure.
yeah,
Can,
they
can.
are really eager to know about the books.
Mm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here is from Kaul Pirandit Kulwant. Can we get the link for the online link? I think she's asking about the ebook, right, Kau?
Oh, ebook. Okay, hold on, hold on. Not ebook. You can get from Amazon because you can get it immediately. It's very cheap. I think about 3.99 US dollar, and you can get it immediately plus tax, I
Oh,
think. Yeah.
that's for the ebook.
Yeah, yeah. Wait,
Okay, that's very
let
cheap.
me. It
That's
is very cheap.
for,
You know the pricing when the publisher told me about it. I said, please make it cheap so that nobody will photocopy or photostat my book.
yeah, to make it affordable to all.
Yes, the reason is simple. This is my belief about things. Sometimes I'm very particular about certain things. When you photocopy a book, you photocopy the knowledge, so it can disappear very easily. But if you own the book, you own the knowledge. So that's as simple as it. So in the worst case, go and get the what we call the Kindle book, the ebook.
For
Okay.
Kindle book.
Wait, oops, did it come out?
Yes, that's
The
the
Amazon, yeah.
okay. I love your philosophy, Prof. That's the first time I
Mm.
heard about owning a book from the
Ah,
from the owner, the original copy of the book. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
I
good.
I I believe so. Actually, this is something that my professor told me. Never photocopy a book. My professor, my supervisor.
Yeah, but I think it is a great philosophy. Even for me as well, I really like to own the original copy.
Hmm.
It gives us a good feeling when we saw it in our uh, collection that we have this original copy of a book. Okay, so
True,
Prof,
true.
that's another question here from Harif.
Hari.
Do you think we, the architecture student who rarely read during undergrad studies, will easily understand the book? So these are the problems and issues of our design based students.
True, true,
So
true.
Haris is
So Haris is PhD or master?
I think Haris master, right? This I think this is Haris from my student.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So for you to ask the question is very good. Actually, how this whole eager thing techniques and to because my research method class was 100% design students. Okay, design student, they don't like to read. They don't like to write anything to do with black and white alphabet. They don't like it, but they like colors. They like form. Okay, and sketches, graphics, and all that. And in the class, I have one of the thing that I approached this with, I didn't mention earlier, is and in the system we capture it. We teach I align or attach the meaning of those how construct the three construct that I mentioned earlier, the who, what, and how construct. I give color meaning to these words, and when you write it in that, it become colorful. So what we do next is when you write, actually you are writing colors, you are arranging colors. So this is wonderful for graphic people. After you finish arranging the colors, only then you read. That save a lot of time rather than you see the black and white alphabets, right? I also get very much headache when I go into theory class. 1 week I got my migraine, and then you enter the class. Before you enter the class, you're okay, but when you get into the class, you got another week of migraine. And then, so now what we do is we change the teaching by introducing colors, segmentation. That is very design oriented actually. We the tables that we usually use is very design oriented also, so easily segmented, structured, so you can go horizontal or vertically, only horizontal and vertically right now. We cannot go diagonal right now, because we want to connect them to one another. So don't worry, Haris. Why don't you try? Uh, uh, Try first. How simple and how easy. Tell me if you don't understand.
Yes, Haris, it is really affordable as well for you if you want to get it, if you want to get one copy.
Okay.
Okay, so another question, Prof, from Yong. Where exactly do we get the book from, PSP, from Putra Science Park?
Okay. The startup company that does this for UPM is Grounded Learning Senja Berhad. The office is second floor of the Putra Science Park. And if you are in UPM, familiar with the campus, Putra Science Park is one of the building in the MTDC campus across SGS. When you go to the left, you go into SGS Road before you go up, but we're on the right side with the blue roof. Actually, I try to find you the link where you can connect to the person actually. If you give me a second, I will do that for you.
Okay, in the meantime,
Mm,
I think you can still post questions in the chat, or any of you want to ask question directly to Prof also can. Just uh,
yes, while I'm searching for the link.
yeah, just unmute your speaker and
Okay,
ask
let me
us
unmute my
any
speaker.
question. Oh, okay, so here we have another one from Azran Mansoor. Um, Thank you, Prof. I already have your book with your autograph on it. I'm doing a PhD in second semester in a FRSB. I just read the first two chapters and found it really straightforward and easy to understand. So this is kind of a good review, Prof, from Azran Mansoor. So he's doing a PhD, Azran. Okay, thank you, Azran. Okay, so oh, from Eber. So another one from Eber. Can I know whether the book tell qualitative method? Prof, we cannot hear you, Prof.
Okay,
Okay,
all
okay.
right. This is a common question asked by everybody. Remember, I mentioned just now the current books that's present is either action centric or theory centric. Yeah, many method centric or theory centric. Now, when you say qualitative and quantitative, examples in the book, yes, I give both qualitative and quantitative samples, but I would like you to let go of the methodology thinking when you are reading this book, if you can. Yeah, because we are so tied up with methodology that we don't want to change. But tell you frankly, what happened is when the student let go, when I say let go, you don't let the methodology dominate your thinking process, and actually you enjoy reading and discovering what you can do, what you cannot do. Eventually, most of the time, eventually you will still end up with a qualitative research methodology. Yeah, and then because at this point of time, you are not even exploring actually. You're not even exploring the potential of yourself. Your topic, when I say your topic, is yourself actually. So you deny the capability to think beyond because of the fear just now that I mentioned just now, the fear of not knowing, the fear of failing. So we deny ourselves an opportunity of a lifetime to become a great scholar. And it's so sad. It's very sad. So let go of it, and then when you look into this is the question that I want you to think. Yeah? Okay. I'm following Yin. This is mentioned a lot in the book. Yin said, uh, do you know that you can select a research method based on your research question? Okay. And I agree with him because we did it a lot. And for me as a supervisor, there are many things when my student negotiate because I understand my student. When you have somebody who are very shy and you ask them ending up with public survey for 200 people, they die standing. Agree? Because it's too much stress for them to meet uh strangers and they don't know and so stressful. Okay. There's one part. And can you imagine somebody who likes to meet with a lot of people end up doing sitting down in the lab for 6 months? You know that person also die sitting down. I can say that because we are who we are. So this is something that I advise colleagues or supervisors that you when we decide for our student or when we guide our student, we need to know their personal behavioral preference. So if you're a quiet student, you're very shy, but no, then there is a way actually in which I explain in the book. There is a way that you can manipulate the research question that you still study what you want to study, but you can change the method. It's in the book. Okay. So you can try it. I done it many times with my students because I negotiate with my students because when they are almost quitting, when they know I already know by the time second sem I know who they are, whether they're the shy one or they're more social one. Then I change and modify them, and for me, happy student make happy supervisor. Because your student is so motivated even without you pushing them, and we don't have to condemn our student for not doing their work because it's just that it's you are a person. Let's say if you are a person who really like people around you, then one of the better ones is you go either case study or you go for your for survey. But what are the topic that you need to study? So that's why in the thinking two books, there is some hints how you can manipulate those so that you can get the methodology that you want. Okay, I hope that answer you. So in this first part, I'm not teaching you methodology, no, but I'm teaching you how to think so that you can get the preferred methodology that you want. That is more beneficial for you. Yeah, because the other books you can buy, no problem. You can have a whole set of survey methodology, you can have a whole set of case study, whole set of experiment. What else is there out there? So you can buy those books. Okay, but what makes you motivated to finish it is something else. This is the thing that you yourself must ask yourself. Are you happy or not happy doing research? Uh, that includes everything else, meaning include the theory development part, which many I call it Malaysians and students from developing country, we don't like to do that, the theory thinking part, because it's very difficult.
So
Okay.
yeah, I hope that also answers your Harry's question, because he added in his question that he is afraid of
Mm.
calculation and formula too. So I hope what Prof said just
Ah,
now already answered your curiosity, Harry. So if you are not comfortable with calculation and formula, so you don't go to that into
mm.
that directions in your research, right, Prof? Okay, so
Yes, 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 yes. So you
uh,
need to have a very understanding supervisor and very sporting supervisor
yeah.
to allow you to explore. This exploration is the one that is lacking among our students, the exploration. And this is the culture that we need to inculcate. a lot of things can be done when you explore, because the last 5 years in my academic career, I'm focusing on innovation, entrepreneurship. You see, you need to be, your product, your technology has to be competitive if you want to go global. And it has to withstand the test of novelty for at least more than 10 years or 15 years, the better. But if your thesis is only, the end product of your thesis only can last 3 years, 5 years, it's not going to make money for the company. Or even if you invest in your own company, you're not going to survive because it will be obsolete very, very fast after you put in so much money. So many of the global company out there, they're looking for really, really novel products. So how can you make sure that it's really novel? Okay, so this is it's mentioned in the book also.
Okay,
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 I will find you the link.
thank you, Prof. So there's another good review from, I think it is from Dr. Atira. I think Atira has already finished her PhD. So she said that I strongly recommend this book and the Eagle Method, especially if you are from technical background like me. She's an architect from architecture background. So my bachelor degree and master was 100% studio and coursework. I know nothing about PhD and research process and elements. It was a real challenge for me. I nearly quit as well in SEM 3. So Alhamdulillah, the Eagle method in this book helped me a lot to finish my PhD. Thank you very much, Prof. Rahina. So this is from Dr. Atira Asmi. This is a true confession, yeah, to all of you. Okay, so that is good. It's great to hear that, Dr. Atira. Congratulations for finishing your PhD. And then from Iba said, yeah, you already answered his question, and then he also liked the name of the book. Yeah, I know, Iba. That's why I said during the in the beginning of of our session, I like even the title are very interesting. Thinking tools, navigating a 3-year PhD journey. I think the word 3-year PhD journey is so that makes people attracted to. Okay. And any other questions from our participants? You can ask directly if you want to unmute your mic. Any questions? Okay. So maybe I would like to ask Prof. Uh, what are the 3 words, Prof, to best describe your book contribution? Just 3 words. So we cannot hear you, Prof.
All right, thank you. What's the 3 word that would describe best? Easy? Can I say easy?
Okay. Easy.
Okay. Unconventional. Yes.
Unconventional.
Unconventional and systematic at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. That unconventional is, yeah, I'd like to elaborate on that. We are so what you call inundated. We are so exposed to traditional way of doing research. Now, the question I usually ask for my student when they say, "Are you sure your method is working for you or not?" Then my my answer is simple. If you see me, that is the method. If you see how successful I am, that is the method I use. So I'm going to teach you how things can make you as successful as myself. Okay. So that unconventional thing, like for example, we always think about method, right? Methodology first. If you don't have a research question, these are some things that you have to ask yourself. If you do not have a research question, why are you doing your research in the first place? Okay. And then what we found out also in our many of the workshop and also in the class, when people come into the classroom, they say, yeah, I have a problem. But actually what we found is there is no problem. It's this issue. It's not the what I call the bullseye problem, not the bullseye problem, you know. So we I elaborate in one of the chapter is that how do you identify whether you really got a problem or not. So it's very unconventional. It's unconventional. So usually in the class and even in our workshop, if you do not have a problem, if you do not have a research question that commensurate with the level of thesis that you want, please don't think about methodology yet. So when I say this, maybe some of my colleagues will be very upset. But the point is, if you don't have a problem, why are you thinking about method? What solution are you looking for when you have no what I call no aim at the end of the expected result that you should get. So that's where the unconventional part is. Yeah. So among others. So let me see what are the other things. In the last chapter actually. Yeah. Being smart to work smart. Being smart to work smart is I I used to do that, and I hope by God you guys will never ever do it what I did. So you started to collect data, you started to go and interview people, you start looking for answers actually. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. And if you see the difference between my 3 year and my 1 year after my question, I got my research question. I was able to finalize my theoretical foundation, and I can link the theory to the results. So that's the most important part. And I like to mention here that uh, among the problems that we saw among students or PhD students who could not finish their PhD writing is because their chapter 2 was not well done. Chapter 2. Because the chapter 2, you know what constitutes of chapter 2? The theory development part. You need to come up with your own personal theory. That means your new novelty finding that you will test or you will find during your data collection and validate. So there is no theory. So those of you, those not you lah, maybe you come here, you're not the one in the problem, but those of students who went to collect data before they have a theory in chapter 2, it really, to me, it really messed up their finding because they were not able to link back the result to the theory. Whereas if you have finished your chapter 2 nicely and you develop your methodology chapter 3 to support your chapter 2, the rest is very simple. All you can do is, yes, it does match up. No, it doesn't match up. If yes, you can finish with all your knowledge contribution. If no, then explain it with alternative theory. So that will be that is what I call shortcut. Actually, it's shortcut. If you go and collect data before your chapter 2 is finished, I just say wait and see. Some of my students are I call stubborn. If because they are under pressure by their colleagues, actually by other student researcher. Oh, I'm collecting my data already. Oh, I'm collecting my data. Okay. My question to my student is, can you tell me what data you collecting? Then you don't know what data you're collecting. Okay, because the data that you collect must commensurate with the theory that you propose. So if you don't have your theory, then why are you collecting data in the first place? So please don't waste your time on that one. Okay. Now next one is having a good problem statement. If you don't have a reason why you do research, please don't start a PhD. Am I very, very brash when I say that? But please don't waste your time and money if you don't have a problem to solve. If it's just for what I call a degree, if you just want a paper, yeah, you can get a paper and be called doctor something something. But I would like to change the paradigm of doing PhD. If you really want to do that, then use that knowledge, use the new scholarship to really help the people you want to help. Okay, that means you have a reason to survive the um the up and down of doing a PhD. So before, please don't go and collect your data if you do not have a problem. Yeah, and then the exercise for problem. So even in our class, I would spend sometime people say, oh, identify one problem. Sometimes I would spend about 2 weeks just to make sure everybody got the problem. Then we can go on to formulating the research question. The problem comes first before the research question. Okay, some people do the research question first, then they identify the problem. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You're wasting your time. I can tell you that now. Please don't waste your time. If you think that you could waste your time, and then please establish your research question first before you establish your research methodology. Okay. The reason is simple. Not the reason is simple. The risk is your result that you're going to get may not even answer your research question. There is a very problematic phase actually. The question you went to collect your data first, what I call is premature data collection. Premature data collection and also premature what I call setting up of methodology. So very, very problematic. Okay. But let me give you the advantage of it. Advantage of having a theory first. But I'm now what I call, I'm not really a pro theory, but I believe that to have a very high impact research output, both have to come together. You need to have good theoretical foundation, and you also must have a what I call a strategic research methodology to collect collect or to gather the data and analyze the data. If you can do that, then it will be very wonderful actually. Does that answer you? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is already answered. It has already answered the questions. Prof. Harris said that he also found the book in Shopee too. So is it authentic? And I already
Oh,
browsed the Shopee site, and yes, there is one shop in Shopee, bibliophile.os. We're selling the book at 55 ringgit.
oh, I didn't know that. Where is that? So this is from. Oh, where is that?
It is from Shopee. So it is 55 ringgit, and the shop in Shopee, they already have 9 stock, 9 books
Okay.
in their collection. So, but I think from the cover and then the content here, I think it is authentic because
It look the
they
same.
because it said that it is 100% authentic guarantee.
Okay, can we see what's the Shopee link? It's nice.
Shop,
Nice to know.
Shopee.
Where's the link to Shopee?
Do you have the link, Harith? Can you share it here?
Hmm.
There. Harith already posted in the chat book.
Looks like it.
Yeah, from what
Oh,
I've
I
seen
cannot.
too, yeah, it looks like the same book, Harith. It's from
I
Partridge, Singapore.
ah, it looks the same.
It looks the
But
same.
it depends. You see, it depends on. Oh, I know why. Because the book the publisher has an agent in KL.
Yeah,
He has an agent. So
yeah.
I think this is in one of the bookstore. So they supply textbook to university. So it become textbook for the university. So I'm happy for that. All right. Yes,
And
it is. It is. Yeah.
So you can get it from there, Haris.
Yep, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Because we are given 2 hours, so we have um another 30 more minutes, 27 more minutes
Mm.
to end the session. So you guys can keep the question posted here, or you want to ask directly to Prof. Any other questions, guys?
Okay. So I don't need to answer the one from Oliver. Okay. Oliver asked this question.
Oh,
This
I,
one here.
or maybe he asked directly to you, Prof, because I couldn't see it.
Oh, you couldn't?
Yeah, because we can ask direct to the
Ah,
person. So maybe you can read it from your chat.
okay, from my chat. Okay, let me see. Does architecture need to follow the research method since mostly related to design? Okay, I found out most students in master find a bit tough to answer the research question by relating to architecture design. Okay, okay, this is the answer that I gave. I teach MI student also research method. Uh, but it's not for architecture student also, or for design student, design based researcher. Okay. For at the master's level, you just came in through your undergrad level, which is by doing those physical, yeah, physiological doing, and is design. And you have very strong visual capability. Actually, you have very strong visual capability. And unlike other researcher, okay, any designer or architects per se, you can visualize the end product of your design. So the question that usually the architect researcher would ask me, why do I need to do literature review? Yeah, because I already can see my solution. I already know what to put in and what not to put in. Okay, so my explanation is, if that's the case, good. But my question is, how do you know that what you suggested in your new design is good for the user? How do you know? Or is it just your I feel? When you say I feel the user wants this, then it's not research. So these are the things that you need to validate. Okay. Remembering that you are very strong in visualization skills, so very strong. Me also. I'm also very strong. Okay, and that is our advantage. So we have to assist the student. So for us supervisor, we have to assist the student to to help them capture the thinking process before they reach the end solution. Okay. So because you already seen the solution in your mind, your visual skill is very strong. You already seen the solution. So now this whole process, understanding the process, will allow you to document the thinking process that justify why your design turned out the way you design. Okay. Now, if that helps you, then I hope you will understand better. Yeah. Like for example, uh, 1 semester or 2 semester ago, everybody talk about concept design for their building, right? Okay. My question to them is, how do you know that your concept is good? If you feel it's good, then it's not good as a scientist because you cannot measure. So there are so many arguments there. If only we can show there are some measurement, like for example, especially when you talk about aesthetics. How do we measure aesthetics? Okay, because I feel it's nice. No, it doesn't work that way in the science world because you feel it's nice. What you can do is, if from 100 people that you interview and 99% say, yeah, it has a very, I like this design very much, but I don't know how to understand why, but I like the design. That is good data for you to move on, rather than I feel. That is very, very difficult to justify. And being an architect, there's this clash of opinion when you talk to engineers. So we have this clash also, engineer researcher and architect researcher. We have this clash. So it is real world. So all the more when you have data to support why your design is good. And then actually with many of the researcher in our faculty, I believe they managed to get those data, and can I say they shut up the engineering, the other science researcher, because we have the what I call intangible measurable data. That is very difficult. And for me, the last 10 years after my of the last 10 years, I've been working in this intangible realm, looking into tacit knowledge, behavioral knowledge, and make it tangible. Okay, make it tangible that it become your end product will be really, really super strong to withstand the commercialization. Okay, so this is good question. Then maybe I can tell you about the ISTP solution also. Can I do that?
Yes, yes, Prof. And how
Hmm.
that's what I looking forward to. Maybe your latest project or your latest research
Mm-hmm.
collaboration.
Okay. Okay. Do we need to write the thing? Yep. Technically, the from the okay, are we talking about master architecture professional degree, or we're talking about master thesis degree? And are we talking about PhD design or PhD architecture? So I will answer it from one example from a PhD, because most of you are PhD student. the For the PhD student, high likelihood that you will end up with a prototype of whatever you want to do. Okay, with a prototype. But your research question does not say prototype. Okay, it does not say prototype. So let me share with you the project. If you can key in what key in. If you look into FB that I posted on the seminar, you can see one of my technology which I work with my PhD student. If you want to see how strong the novelty is for that technology, uh, do you know, those of you who know, how much what is the percentage of similarity that you need to have before SGS accept your thesis submission? Can somebody write in the chat? What's the maximum similarity when you put through the Turnitin program? What is the similarity?
They said 30%, Prof.
30. Okay. So this ISTP project that my student did, his name is Dr. Navid Mazandan Rani. Okay. Can you imagine that his Turnitin was only 2% for a 250 pages thesis? That was one of the reasons why I'm very excited to support the commercialization of his technology, because I know it's novel, even by the thesis writing. If he come out with 30, I will think many times, because I know I'm going to, like firefighting all the way, whether this is original or not original. And it came out that strong. So what we did was, we wanted to know whether we're strong or not. We entered this CIOB, which is the Chartered Institute of Building in UK competition in 2016. We won the innovation or innovation achievers award that is for top prize for research for university. And we were so surprised because somebody told us you are the first Malaysian team to ever win a CIOB award in 183 years of CIOB UK establishment. That is how strong the outcome comes in. And it would be nice, right, if we can fly over to London to pick up the award, but then they send the award to us. And they sent the award to us, and we had all these CIOB Malaysia president and vice president coming in congratulating us. And that's why they said we never won anything, so surprised, but they were very happy that finally local technology won the award. So this is how this process of, when I say this critical thinking process can happen. And mind you, he's an industrial designer. He's not even an environmental engineer, but at the end of the day, during the Viva, he was asked by one of the examiner to demonstrate how he calculated the standard A that he got, that he makes the claim for the what we call the processing part of his system. So he managed to teach using the whiteboard. This is how you calculate this when you get that. So he was very confident regardless of where you are. So that is the kind of level even industrial designer can learn how to do engineering, environmental engineering, and pass the thesis very well. Okay. So now what I like to highlight about this project is we work together. He does all the what we call the mechanical technical part, but the underlying ethnography that was done earlier, several years before, was done by myself. This is where when you see that some parts of the country has no sanitation, no centralized sanitation, yeah. What's wrong with that? So when we see, actually there are attempts by the authority to install centralized system, but after 3 months we ask around. You see, we have to ask, why is it not working? He said cannot be done because the water level goes up and down 1.5 meter twice a day. That is a lot of water, and then it's in the ocean, and it's in the ocean also. So a lot of ocean water change, and these people, they are poor. They are poor people. So how do you make that into account? So how do you make that into account? So we end up brainstorming and end up with a conclusion. We need to make the smallest sewage treatment plant system in the world that can be hanged on the timber column, not on the concrete column. That can be hanged on the timber column and give standard A. Standard A is the highest water quality, treated water quality. Because many of these water settlements are in what I call marine national park, beautiful places, but they are contaminated because 100% of the, I can see it's 100% of the homes do not have any sanitation. So this kind of problem, if you are a PhD student, what are you thinking? Are you thinking about technology only? Because the other solution, the other technology, when we don't challenge the norm, the smallest one right now is 2,000 liter size. That means as big as a Pajero car. So imagine you want to hang that size, the body of that tank on the house. That means the house will fall down first before the tank got filled up. And there are thousands of homes in the water settlement. If you just want to install one tank, you have to bulldoze several houses before you can reach the end of that. So it doesn't make sense. So meaning that there is no solution. But when we put in that, say we have to install the tank, so we start to think. We have to think. So this is where we call case study also. Case study, we have to think what is the best way to transport. It has to go on the boat. It cannot have It doesn't have truck. It doesn't have machine, heavy machine to put for. So we broke the tank into two. This is the first tank that is broken down actually in modular form. Yeah, and then we install them again. And it's so expensive to install. That means you have to teach the fishermen how to install their own tank and to maintain the tank. So those are the questions that you get during the data collection when you are looking for the design. Okay, so we have a goal of making the smallest, affordable and easy to transport treatment plant system for people who cannot afford, and we have to send it to remote places. So that is the goal. So that is the problem because the world has no treatment plant. So to make it so now I'm very happy to inform you, very happy. I just came back from installing the first 10 tanks at the water village in Pulau Gaya, Sabah. So we look forward. So that's why I challenge you to think bigger. Because this project, we got funding from United Nations actually, and they are looking for technology that can give minimum 12 SDG goals. So if your technology or your solution or your PhD only answer one or two or commonly four SDG goals, that's considered average. They are looking for 12 SDG goal fulfillment. So this sewage treatment plant for ISTP, it fulfilled 12 of 17 SDG goals if the whole business model and the technology life cycle is met. So this is how incredible through a PhD study, and he has done a lot of reading to the point that I am very sure that the work is authentic enough that it's very difficult to challenge. Very difficult to challenge. And so far we are still standing. This is the only sewage treatment plant that hang on the timber. Because other than that is on the platform or on the ground somewhere. So our pattern is very strong. That means for commercialization system is very strong, meaning the industry would be or investor would be very interested to look into this kind of technology. So this is the advantage for design research. I call it that. We have the understanding or we have the capability to understand the intangible part of the whole society process, the social culture part, the human part, which the other research doesn't have the advantage. This is our advantage. Okay. Now, if we can work together with, we call it engineering input, or if the designer, let's say, see, architects are supposed to be technologists also, is daring enough to venture into technology incorporation into their design research, I can bet you will get wonderful projects out of it that can give you potential financial return in the future, just in case you don't want to work in a firm anymore. You can create your own startup and you can establish yourself for the work. So how do you, like me, if you ask me, how do I know that I can go to the world level? Number one, we already know, we already know that, hold on. Number one, because we already know that through our reading and all that, through the literature review, actually we already know that our technology is superior. Quite hands down, we won. Okay. And then second one is we have taken the technology out of Malaysia, and we have impressed people at the United Nations level that they are willing to invest. So this is great. So they hopefully that we can bring it out. So that is part of your research goal. So in the book, actually, when setting up the problem statement, I think one of the recommendations that I put there is try to find a problem that can at least fulfill one of the SDG goal. I said one, at least one SDG goal. So that is enough. We started with SDG 6, water and sanitation, but we end up with 12 including poverty eradication, family, woman, even smart city also gets in there, because we are looking into towards in the future when we work with international partner, we are looking into monitoring of wastewater pollution in the ocean, that we can create something like blue economy, something like the green economy side for the pollution control for the world. So think about that level, okay, not the small level, because you are still, this is why I encourage you not to be afraid. Be courageous by reading. So it's okay to read and know that actually you can go beyond. And this is the exploration that I feel joyful, and I would like my students and all of you who are listening to this to enjoy the knowledge exploration, not to be afraid, not to be afraid that actually you can manipulate the knowledge base that you have to create something new. So this is something that somebody was asking, is it qualitative? I said no. Is it quantitative? I said no. That term quali and quanti is what I call limiting your thinking mindset, that you are limited to only certain things. If you open up your mindset, I cannot tell you how much big you can, or expense you can really go forward. And ISTP is only one of it. It's one example. To me, right now, currently, I call hot topic for me to go on. And mind you, this ISTP, it follow 100% of the Eagle technique and tools. So that is something that I have to emphasize on also.
Okay, Prof. Thank you for sharing with us such inspiring story. I hope that we all inspired by the by the accomplishment of Professor Rahina, especially in terms of applying all the knowledge or the thinking tools in from the Eagle tables and applied into the into solving the real situation. So we have one last question. I think it is also from Haris, but he's asking this. This is I think just to as an last question, yeah. But Haris say asked. I don't know how to ask this. Not sure does it relate to the book or not. But this is how it goes. For design-based student, do we need to write the thesis just like other background, or do we have our own standard? I think he means what he means here is our own standard of writing the thesis, right, Haris?
Mm. So this is more related to MI student, right? Is it MI student or TC student?
Thesis, it's master by research.
Okay. If you're in the, this is the long argument we had this weekend, last weekend, actually. I Can I say, I come from dua alam. Dua alam meaning one foot is in architecture and one foot in construction. So I understand both field, the quali and quanti, but I'm more leaning more towards quali, because you know why? During my PhD time, we were among the first 10 engineering students who was trained by one of the top anthropologists and ethnographer, which is Steve Bali, to understand the ethnography approach, and what he does, or what we became, most of us became of this class, is all of us were able to predict potential new technology, or what I call future technology, based on our understanding, okay, based on the interpretation of the current culture of the human that will be using those technology. So imagine that I can be an engineer, but I don't have the intangible skill, or intangible skill capturing technique in myself. So please don't don't be afraid to go into that, but I will encourage you to work with more on the science and the technology researcher together later on, or even now. Challenge yourself to look into that. Now, to answer your question here, why I tell you that story is because in Malaysia, and I have to be very frank, if you cannot explain from the SNT, the science and technology perspective, it's very hard for you to convince them that you are right. Okay, so this is my opinion after going through 15 years of this. They are not satisfied with your answer, saying that, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, they want to see the tangible result. So what I found is throughout my years here is it is not wrong. It is always good to understand how other people know how to do. So if you say, do we need to write thesis thoroughly just like other background? I would say yes. Okay. But that standard is you. So throughout the years, even my earlier PhD student, I have problem finding examiner for them. The reason was easy. Nobody does mixed method the way that we do the mixed method. We do ethnography. So the result from the ethnography, we develop software. So I cannot find internet examiner who is an architect who knows software development. I have problem with that. Then I cannot have a computer science people to examine the thesis because this person has no what we call this qualitative aspect. So I have problem with this. So I end up, most of my students end up having two international examiner because they are more familiar with those works. I mean, combination of both quali and quanti. So alhamdulillah, now we have more and more of our even our lecturer at our faculty, they are more dual, what I call mixed methodology expert. So the current student have more option as the examiner compared to the seniors before. So my answer to you very quickly, I would like you to write it like the other scientific. Okay. However, how you present the results, how you present the analysis is your way of explaining. Yeah. Especially in the chapter 2. So this is where they differentiate. I can tell from my student, their chapter 2 theoretical foundation is excellent. Excellent. Usually nobody asks them about chapter 2, just go straight to methodology. Because their theory development process is very strong. Nobody question about that. Then everybody get excited with the outcome. So if you can reach that point, then you will be a great design scientist. I call it great design scientist. I call myself design scientist now. I don't call myself designer. I say I'm design scientist. Why? I use scientific data to produce my technology. Can you? And then my scientific data is accepted by everyone in the science world, in the SNT, and even in the social science, they can accept. So meaning that if you want to be somebody special that is accepted all over the world, then you need to, I would recommend you to be accepted by understanding how the other side is thinking. You cannot convince the other people when you don't understand how they think about certain things. So this is where I call it, we will hit the wall. When you start arguing with SNT people, you start hitting the wall because you couldn't explain what you wanted to explain. So it is difficult for us from the design viewpoint, design field. Yes, I'm a very strong advocate for design approach to solving problem, and I have a lot of challenges, but I think my argument is now easily accepted by my opposite researcher, which is especially from the engineering side and the SNT side, that they can accept what we are trying to do, and we can be different and very unique which actually, if I were to give the ISTP problem to them, it will not happen that way. It will not come to that. They haven't thought about it. Yes, until today. Yep. Okay. So I hope that long answer will answer Haris. If I can give you encouragement, you're still a master student. You're not you're not going for PhD yet, but uh, if you enjoy research and you enjoy exploration, your architecture education has equipped you well to do the exploration in some way. Yep. And for me, I'm very proud of my architecture background. But honestly, I love being a design scientist more than doing practice because I can do a lot more things actually. I can do a lot more innovation. I can change the world. I can influence the impact of the people. I can really target the user at the end and make people what we call live with better quality of life. So that's my personal being. After being trained as an architect, I that knowledge I know will bring more people happier with the environment and also the built environment. Okay. I hope
Okay.
that's enough for today. Oh, it's five
Okay, yeah,
o'clock.
it's
Sorry.
already 5. Thank you, Prof. Thanks
Hmm.
uh, for answering all the questions. And it looks like we already answered all the questions here. So, Prof, do you have anything else you would like to mention?
I would like to encourage you to get a copy of the book and then check it out. If you haven't been in my class, come to the RSP 5001. If not, I think grounded learning is organizing workshops on the courses, even how to use the Eagle technique. Also on the Eagle Navigator online system is on subscription basis. We I think I believe grounded learning is trying to arrange something special for UPM because it started with UPM. That students can try and use can try the system for a short while and see whether they come out with a manuscript in 1 month from zero. Yeah. So look forward to that. Um, I I think if you're interested, who do I give the? Hmm, I don't have the link here, but usually who would like to who's interested to sign up, can you go to Eagle Navigator Facebook? If you like it, then you will get announcement for the next workshop and classes that we have. So this is the Eagle Navigator. Yep, FB,
Okay.
Facebook.
Okay, you can see it in the chat box, guys, where Prof sent the name of the system, right, Prof? Eagle Navigator. So you can just
Yeah, it's
Google.
yep, it's the Facebook also there, and you can go to the website. You can just key in, you can go www.eaglenavigator.io. Wait, so you can go there also. Uh, but the Facebook has more information on the latest workshop, or if you want to know, you can direct us there.
Okay. Okay, great.
Okay, so
Uh,
I think
yeah. Thank you, Prof. Thank you for your time, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. We hope to see you again for another FRSB postgraduate talk series. So with that, I end this session for today. And Ramadan Mubarak for those who are fasting tomorrow for Muslims.
mhm.
Ramadan Kareem to those celebrating Ramadan. And goodbye and stay safe, everyone. Thank you again, Prof, for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Lin, hosting and moderating. Good question.
No problem. Okay,
Yep.
goodbye and stay safe, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye,
Selamat
everyone.
Ramadan, Prof.
Okay, same to you.